Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new and exciting podcast. Today I'm with my two co-hosts, Aiden Craig and Michael Badnick, and today we have a treat for all you sports fans. So we have sport journalist here, Josh Clipperton, and please, Josh, introduce yourself a little bit.
Hey guys, it's Josh here. I'm the national hockey writer with the Canadian Press. In Toronto, I cover the Leafs and the league as a whole. So happy to be here.
We're pleased to have you. Thank you for giving us your time today.
Of course.
All right, so let's just get the ball rolling right away. So we got Michael up with his first question. So let's get started.
All right, Josh. I want to start off by first off, how you doing during this pandemic and everything?
Sorry, it's been different. It's been good. I'm lucky to be able to work from home. Zoom makes it easier, but definitely miss being in the rink and in the room with the guys and those little conversations where you get a lot of the stories. So we're all making do.
Yeah. All right. Well, first off, I want to ask, how did you know you wanted to get into this type of work?
Well, good question. Yeah, my dad was a radio host with CBC in Ottawa growing up, so I was always kind of around news. And I didn't really ever think I wanted to do anything differently. I thought I was going to be in radio, but went to Carleton Journalism School, and then from there, just got lucky. Did some internships and found my way to CP and worked a lot of night desking, a lot of which is like editing overnight, so a lot of bad hours. But then sort of just moved into here and moved up to Vancouver for a bit to work covering the Canucks. So yeah, getting into it, I was always really interested in news growing up, and was a big sports fan, so it kind of all made sense.
So you knew you always wanted to get into sports reporting then, kind of?
Not necessarily. Like when I started at CP, sorry. Email notifications coming up. I should have muted those. When I first started at CP, Canadian Press, I was actually just in regular news. I was happy to work in regular news. And it kind of all came together that there was an opening when I was, pretty new, and they knew that I liked sports, and you obviously have to know sports to cover sports, so it kind of made sense, and I was very happy to do it. But at that time, I was really happy to work in any job.
Yeah, sounds good. Aiden, over to you.
So, Josh, obviously you ended up in the sports field. What sports did you play growing up?
I played everything growing up. I'm sure, like you guys growing up, there's just so many options. I played hockey. I wasn't very good. I played golf. I played baseball. We had some pretty good teams. We made provincials a couple of years. And I played football at university. So that's where I kind of went. I played football out east at St. Mary's for a couple of years when I was at Halifax. I was at Carleton, but I took a little time off and played football out there and got some undergrad, some minor degrees for my journalism degree. So it was. I've always been around sports, so it's kind of made sense for me to be in this job. But at the same time, I'm very lucky because there's lots of people that are sports fans that don't get to do this.
You're also a Leafs journalist. So have you had any cool experiences with any of the players or coaching staff since you've had this job?
Yeah. I mean, there's always those funny moments. I mean, it's when you grow up and you see these guys on TV, and not these guys in particular, but you see NHL players on TV. They seem larger than life. They seem like these superstars. But then you quickly realize they're just really talented people out at their job. But they're also our regular people. They they have families, they got dogs. I've talked to guys about fantasy football. I've talked to guys about their dogs. There's one of the Leafs lived not far from me, and I'd see him in the dog park here and there. So those moments are more, the more personal moments are the ones you remember. And unfortunately with the pandemic, and you guys know that as well, with having to do school on Zoom, it's not the same, but we're all making do.
And lastly, do you have a favorite Leafs player?
I don't have a favorite Leafs player. Favorite guy good. There's lots of good guys to talk to, though. I enjoy talking to Morgan Riley. He's a really smart guy to talk to. And a lot of the times when the cameras are off, you guys see these guys on TV, and they're totally different when the camera's away from them. They open up just like anybody else. When the lights are on, sometimes guys get nervous. John Tavares is a great guy to talk to. Just really, really thoughtful. Really takes his time. He doesn't have to sit there and take 5 minutes to answer your questions. He could answer them in 30 seconds, but he's really thoughtful. So those are two guys that I'd say are some of the guys that I prefer to talk to, or not necessarily prefer to talk to, but I like to talk to.
And lastly, over to Yanni.
All right. So we're rolling off that discussion there. Can you give us a small kind of good story of any like the superstars like Matthews or Marner? Do you have any cool like little story?
Yeah, there's a few here or there. Like those Matthews and Marner. It's funny. I did a story last year. I mentioned fantasy football, and they were getting chirped by their teammates because they were sharing a team for some reason. I don't know why. Like they weren't able to run a fantasy football team on their own. So that was kind of funny. Like, you know, these guys are superstar athletes, but you know, Morgan Riley was making fun of them, and so was Kerfoot. He's like, why can't they just have their own team? But I you know, and they're yelling at each other when their team's not doing well, or there's trade requests going back and forth. So, and I guess Mitch made a trade that Austin wasn't very happy about. So it was just kind of funny, you know, that they have the same kind of interests that the rest of us do away from the rink.
Yeah, a whole lot of chirping going on, I guess, in between the players.
Oh, all the time, man.
A lot of underlying, yeah. Anyway, the next question. So, what is like a typical like day in the life of like a media game day type scenario?
Yeah, so on game day, like we'll get up. You know, if it's a home game here, I don't cover them on the road. I cover them just when they're home. At least during the regular season, the playoffs I'll go on the road. But so I'll get up, you know, check Twitter, check email, check in with my boss, head over to the rink for the morning skate. The Leafs are usually on at 10:30 or 10:45. It's been a long time since I've been to a morning skate because of the pandemic. And then the visiting team will be there. So we go into the room, you sort of see if there's storylines for the day. And often I'm working on feature stories, so you might want to like a morning skate's a good time to talk with a guy because it's, you know, after the game it's hard to ask questions that aren't game related. So it's good on a practice day or morning skate day to do a question here and there that might not be related to the game. And then, you know, the visiting team's honestly often more interesting because, you know, you only see them a couple times a year and sometimes only once a year. So if there's say Vancouver's in town or LA or somebody, like you only see Drew Doughty once a year. So you got to go and talk to him about whatever the news of the day is. And then from there, you know, if there's any news, you might do a little quick 200-word story just for the internet. And then from there, you go home, have lunch, just like the players, maybe have a nap if you want to, and then go back to the rink around, you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock and sort of get yourself set. There's game notes. You know, you sort of make sure that you know everything that you need to know. And when the game starts, you sort of watch. I usually watch the first period and then start writing in the first intermission. And then as the game goes on, you're kind of looking at the computer, looking at your TV monitor, looking at the game. And then as the game really gets going, you know, towards the end, often you're not really watching. You're only watching the replays. And then we file a quick story at the buzzer, and then you go down to the locker rooms, grab some quotes, go back up to the press box, and do your final version. So you're usually out of there by 11:45, midnight kind of thing.
And you watch the game like in the press box, like up high in the rafters there?
Yeah. Kyle Dubas, if you see him on TV, us reporters are about 10 feet away from him underneath. So
Wow.
we're right up there up top. So it's a cool perspective. It's not like watching in the stands though. It's totally different. My friends always ask me like, "Oh, do you get to drink beer up in the press box?" I'm like, "No, it's a job. Like, you get to drink beer at work." So no, it's a cool experience, and we're all very lucky to have that job.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for you today. So
I got one question, not relating to hockey. Going towards how you said you play football.
Yeah.
I myself play, and you said you played at St. Mary's, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So, would you happen to know Tommy, the new head coach there?
No, I don't know him. I was there a long time ago. Like I'm 38, so I was there in 2003 and 4. So when you guys were
Just
little,
born.
I guess. Yeah, just we're not even born yet, maybe. And so Blake Mill is the coach. You might know the name. He's at UBC now. He was at Calgary for a long time. They had just gone to the Vanier Cup. The one year that I was there, we made the Vanier Cup, but we lost to Laval. So it was a great experience. But no, I don't know any of the St. Mary's guys anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I had Tommy was my coach last summer for football in town here.
Oh, nice.
Wanted to know if you knew it all.
Is he from Georgetown?
I don't think so. I think he was. I'm not totally sure. I think out Hamilton area. I might be wrong.
Right on.
But he came out and coached my team 2 years ago in the summer.
Nice.
And then this past year he moved out there and started head coach there.
Oh, good for him. Are you going to play in the university hopefully?
Initially I had hoped for it. Probably not at this point. I haven't played in a few years. Because of COVID, everything got kind of messed up.
Yeah, no.
But right on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Aiden. Just want to thank you for talking to us today and giving us this opportunity to get to know you and hear your cool stories. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so one final question here for you, Josh. For someone looking to pursue journalism in the future who's still in high school, do you have any words of advice for them?
Yeah, I was expecting you guys to ask this question. It's tough. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's tough. I think you guys know that the way the news industry is now, there's lots of cuts, but I'm not gonna be one to ever tell someone not to do something. I would suggest finding your local community paper. If your school has a paper, try to write. It's just important to keep writing, right? Like that's the main thing. Always write. Always be interested. Always ask questions. Always read. You improve your writing by reading, but also you improve your writing by writing, but also by reading other articles, reading other reporters or other journalists. I'm reading all the time, and yeah, it's a good degree to have too. If you want to be, even if you go to journalism school, just because you go there, it doesn't mean you necessarily be a journalist. Like, I look at my graduating class from Carleton from 2007. Lots of people went on to be government workers. Lots of people went on to be lawyers, communications people. A lot of us are journalists, but a lot of us aren't. So it's a great degree to have. I would never say don't do it. It's a tough job, like a lot of jobs, but it's really fun. So if you can get into it, I would never say don't go for it. It's been an awesome experience for me.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it from us today. Yanni, you got anything else?
No, I've got everything off my plate today. I'm good.
Okay, so then that's it, Josh. Thank you so much. We appreciate this.
Great, guys. Thanks a lot. Hope you guys are dealing well with COVID. It's not an easy time. I feel really bad for guys in high school, guys and girls in high school. It was such an important time in your life, but proud of you guys for dealing with it the way you are.
We're trying to make the best of it. Thanks, Josh. Have a good day.
You too.
Take care.